Hi, passionate Rangers FC fans. Welcome to Rangers Update, your dedicated source for all things Rangers. Before we dive in, we want to express our gratitude for your unwavering support. If you bleed blue, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and let's strengthen our community. Now, let's get into the latest updates. A hearty welcome to our new followers. Your backing means the world to us. Let's get to the news. Oliver Burke, the Scottish midfielder who has been turning heads at Union Berlin, is suddenly at the center of a fresh swirl of transfer speculation that has been buzzing through the corridors of Scottish football. The rumour mill has been working overtime, and the latest whispers suggest that Rangers have quietly moved to secure the services of the player, with talks allegedly progressing at a pace that has surprised even the most seasoned insiders. Now, I'm not saying anything is set in stone, but the kind of chatter you're hearing right now usually doesn't start unless there's something real simmering beneath the surface. It's the kind of story that gets fans talking, that gets the pundits leaning forward, and that gets the social media timeline flooded with what-ifs and can you imagine moments. Burke is a name that carries weight in Scotland, not just because he's Scottish, but because he's shown flashes of that rare blend of speed, skill, and directness that can change a game in a heartbeat. If Rangers are indeed lining up a move, it would be the kind of signing that signals intent, not just a bit of squad padding. The first thing to say about this rumour is that it feels like a calculated gamble from Rangers if it's true. Burke is not a safe bet in the sense of being a guaranteed starter every week, but he is the kind of player who can spark a team into life. He has the kind of pace that makes defenders think twice and the kind of trickery that can break open a tight match. In the Scottish Premiership, where games can often be physical and tactical, a player with that kind of explosiveness can be the difference between grinding out a result and turning a match on its head. Some fans will say he's inconsistent, and that's a fair critique. But inconsistency is sometimes the price you pay for the kind of raw talent that can change a season. Rangers, if they are truly chasing him, must believe they can get the best out of him and that their environment can bring out the consistency that has been missing in his career so far. There's also the bigger picture to consider. Rangers have been in a constant state of evolution, trying to balance the need for immediate success with the desire to build a squad capable of sustaining that success over time. Bringing in a player like Burke would not just be about adding a body to the roster, it would be about injecting a different kind of energy into the squad. He is the sort of player who can create moments, and moments are what win you trophies in the modern game. The rumors suggest that the deal would be for a couple of years, which tells you something about how Rangers might be thinking. They aren't looking for a quick fix. They're looking for a player who can be part of the plan for a period of time. That kind of commitment implies they see potential in him and that they believe the right coaching and the right environment could unlock something special. Of course, there are always questions when a player with Burke's profile is linked with a club like Rangers. Can he handle the pressure? Can he stay disciplined? Will he be able to adapt to the demands of playing for one of the biggest clubs in Scotland, where every mistake is magnified and every moment of brilliance is expected to be repeated? The skeptics will point to the fact that he has had a career that has not always lived up to the early promise, but that is also the reason why this rumor is so intriguing. Rangers are a club that can offer a platform, a stage, and a level of support that might help a player like Burke rediscover his best form. The coaching staff, the structure, the expectations, and the fans all create an environment where players either thrive or crumble. If Burke is to reach the level that many believe he is capable of, he needs a setting where he feels trusted and challenged in equal measure, and that is what Rangers could potentially offer. Now, let's talk about what this would mean for the squad dynamic. Rangers already have a set of players who are used to carrying the load, and adding someone like Burke would add a new dimension to the attack. He's not a traditional midfielder in the sense of sitting deep and dictating play. He's more of a spark, a runner, a player who can take defenders on and create chaos in the final third. That kind of player can be a coach's dream or a coach's nightmare, depending on how well they are managed. The key will be whether the staff can channel his energy into consistent contributions rather than occasional bursts. If they can do that, then Burke could become the kind of player who makes the difference in tight matches, where one moment of individual brilliance can swing the result. That is what fans want to see, and that is what the club is likely hoping for, if this rumor has any truth to it. Finally, there is the emotional aspect of this rumor that shouldn't be underestimated. Burke is Scottish, and the idea of him returning to play for one of the biggest clubs in the country is the sort of narrative that naturally excites supporters. It taps into the sense of pride, the feeling that a homegrown talent is coming back to make an impact on the domestic scene. Even if the deal is not confirmed, the mere suggestion of it is enough to get fans dreaming, and dreams are a big part of what makes football so captivating. Rangers fans are used to big names, big signings, and big ambitions. Whether this rumor turns into reality or not, it is the kind of story that reflects the club's ongoing desire to keep raising the bar and pushing for more. In the end, the only thing that will matter is what happens on the pitch. But the rumor itself is already doing what rumors do best, creating excitement, speculation, and a sense of anticipation. If the reports are true, and Rangers have indeed agreed terms with Burke, the next question is how quickly he could fit into the system. A player with his profile might need time to adjust, especially after playing abroad and adapting to a different style of football. Union Berlin has a very particular style, and the Bundesliga demands a lot physically and tactically. Returning to Scotland would mean a different pace, different expectations, and a different kind of pressure. That transition is not always straightforward, but sometimes a player returning home can feel a renewed sense of purpose. It can feel like a fresh start, a chance to reset the career and prove to everyone, including himself, that the potential is still there. Rangers would likely be banking on that kind of psychological boost, believing that the combination of familiarity and ambition could bring out the best in him. It's also worth considering what this would mean for the tactical setup. Rangers have traditionally played with a strong emphasis on structure and intensity, and they have a squad that can handle a lot of different systems. Burke's arrival could allow the team to become more unpredictable, especially in the attacking third. He can operate in pockets of space, drift wide, or cut inside, and that versatility can make it difficult for opponents to plan for. The rumors suggest that the coaching staff sees him as someone who can add creativity without necessarily needing to be the focal point of the attack. That's a smart way to integrate a player like Burke. If he's expected to be the main man, the pressure could become overwhelming. But if he is brought in as a piece of a bigger puzzle, someone who can rotate and provide a spark, then his strengths could be maximized and his weaknesses minimized. The financial aspect of the rumor is also interesting. even if details are sketchy. A deal for a player like Burke would not be a headline-grabbing, record-breaking transfer, but it would still be a significant move. Rangers would be taking on a player who has experience in a top league, and that experience has value. It's the kind of signing that could be seen as a calculated risk rather than a gamble. The club might be looking at it as a chance to secure a player who could be worth more in the future if he finds his form. And if he does, the payoff could be substantial both on the pitch and in terms of market value. The rumour also suggests that Rangers are continuing to look for opportunities to strengthen in key areas and that they are not afraid to chase players who might need a bit of a revival. But there are always risks. A player returning to the Scottish League can sometimes struggle to adapt, especially if they have been used to a different tempo and style. The physicality and intensity of the Premiership can be brutal, and players who are used to a more tactical, possession-based game can find it challenging. Burke's success would depend on his ability to handle the demands, to stay focused, and to remain consistent. Rangers would need to manage him carefully, ensuring he is not overloaded and that he is given the right support to flourish. That includes not just coaching, but also the mental and emotional backing that players need when they are under scrutiny. The pressure at a club like Rangers is relentless, and it takes a strong mindset to cope with it. Another element to consider is the reaction of the fans. Rangers supporters are passionate and they can be demanding. They love players who show commitment, who give everything for the jersey, and who show they understand what it means to play for the club. Or Burke would need to win them over quickly, not just with talent, but with attitude. The fans will be watching his every move, and they will judge him not only on what he does in matches, but on how he carries himself in training, how he responds to criticism, and how he handles the spotlight. If he can show that he's hungry, that he's determined, and that he's ready to embrace the challenge, the supporters could become his biggest allies. But if he appears disconnected or inconsistent, the same fans can turn quickly. And finally, let's not forget the bigger narrative this rumor creates. Football is full of stories about players who return home and find a second life. It's the kind of tale that fans love because it speaks to the idea of rebirth, redemption, and revival. If Burke does join Rangers, it could become one of those stories that people talk about for years. The Scottish midfielder who came back, found his form, and helped the club in a crucial period. Of course, that is all speculation, and it's important to keep perspective. The only certainty right now is that the rumor exists and that it has captured the imagination of fans. Whether it becomes reality or fades away, it has already done what a good transfer rumor should do. It has created excitement, sparked debate, and reminded everyone that the football world never stops turning. The very notion of Oliver Burke back in Scotland and potentially at Rangers is the kind of tale that gets the fans buzzing because it taps into that classic homecoming narrative. It's the kind of transfer that feels like it could be more than just a signing. It could be a statement. Rangers are a club that thrives on big moments and big characters, and Burke certainly has the profile of a player who could bring a bit of drama to the squad. He's not the sort of lad who blends into the background. When he's on form, he's the kind of player who forces the opposition to change their shape, to pick up the slack, and to respect his ability to turn a match on its head. That's the sort of impact Rangers would be chasing if this rumor has any truth behind it. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Now, it's also worth considering the way Rangers might use him. He's not a classic midfielder who sits deep and controls the tempo. He's more of a live wire, someone who thrives in space and loves to run at defenders. In a team like Rangers, which often needs to break down stubborn defenses, that kind of player can be a real asset. The question is whether he'd be used as a starter or as an impact sub, the kind of player you bring on when you need to change the game. If the coaching staff can manage his minutes and get him into the right rhythm, he could become a dangerous weapon, but if he's thrown into the deep end too quickly, the pressure could do more harm than good. That's the balancing act that makes this rumor so fascinating. The skeptics will, of course, have their say. They'll point to the times Burke has been inconsistent, the moments where he's looked like he's not quite settled, and they'll argue that Rangers don't need another gamble, and that's a fair argument because Rangers have already got a squad that needs players who can deliver week in, week out. But there's also the other side of the coin. Sometimes a player just needs the right place to feel at home. The Scottish League is familiar, the fans are passionate, and the environment is intense. For some players, that pressure can be the fuel that drives them to a new level. If Burke can embrace the challenge, if he can show he's willing to work and fight for the jersey, then the fans could quickly warm to him. And once the fans are behind you at Rangers, you've got a power that few clubs can match. Finally, this rumor also says something about Rangers' ambition. They're not just sitting back and hoping the squad stays strong. They're actively looking for ways to add creativity, speed, and unpredictability. That's the kind of mindset that keeps a club competitive at the top. Whether Burke ends up signing or not, the fact that his name is being linked suggests that Rangers are thinking about the kind of football they want to play and the type of players they believe can help them achieve it. And for the supporters, that's the exciting part. The possibility of seeing a Scottish player with genuine potential come in and shake things up. As ever, until there's an official confirmation, it's all speculation. But it's the kind of speculation that keeps the conversation alive. And that's what makes football so thrilling. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.